published 1100 est, the 29th of December 2017, updated 1215 est, the 29th of December 2017. Stoke City striker Peter Crouch writes a weekly column exclusively for Sportsmail. The approach is alien to me. The idea of going out to play a game of football and being resigned to losing. Sorry, but I just don't understand. A debate has surfaced following on from comments made by Pep Guardiola after Manchester City's win at Newcastle, who wants to see teams come out and play. Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville followed up on Sky Sports, saying the Premier League is losing its identity. I appreciate where they're coming from. It's clear that the top six have got away a little bit more from the remaining 14 teams in the division this season, but I can't accept it has become a foregone conclusion that you are automatically going to lose when you face one of the big teams. Over the years, Stoke have probably been the best example of a side who have beaten almost all the big teams at home. Reputations don't mean anything when they arrive at the Bet365 stadium, and we have always done our best to ensure those reputations are shredded a bit when they leave. A debate over the ambition of teams against the likes of Manchester City has arisen this week. We often give the big sides a game at Stoke. I can't imagine being resigned to losing to them. Our first home game this season was a 10 win over Arsenal. We've always tended to beat them. A month later we drew 22 with Manchester United. We've beaten everyone here down the years and I'm confident we'll do so again in the future. With a crowd behind us, it'd back us against anyone. There are ways you can do it, even if the other team have huge resources. You couldn't, for instance, go toe-to-toe with Manchester City and you have to get men behind the ball, but that doesn't stop you being a threat either with set pieces or counter-attacks. Look at some of our players. We've lost to a few of the top sides so far, but you couldn't level it at us. That all we wanted to do was shut up shop and keep the score down. Herdan Shaqiri and Eric Choupo-Moting don't want to be in a team that defends. These are players who want to attack. We can't ignore, however, that being conservative is creeping into the league, and there are definitely people who are writing games off in advance thinking we are going to lose to them, so let's win the mini-league behind the top six. If everyone started to think that way, the Premier League as we know it would be in trouble and would lose what it is about. When you set up to defend, all you are doing is inviting pressure on yourself, so why not have a go? Teams are lying down at home, and that should happen. Perhaps it's the goals that the top six are scoring. City are averaging more than 3 a game in the Premier League. Liverpool have scored 25 during December alone. Tottenham are running in 4s and 5s, and I know how the players in those squads will be feeling. The likes of Eric Choupo-Moting haven't come to Stoke for us to be a defensive team. The goals scored by the top six could be a reason for conservatism creeping into our game. Nothing gives you more confidence than being in a team when you know you're going to win. The days were magic when you sensed everything you were about to do was going to come off and goals were going to arrive. I got them regularly when I was at Liverpool and Tottenham. Equally, I've experienced the other side of it, the days when you simply feel embarrassed. We got beaten 51 by Tottenham earlier this month. They have beaten us heavily a few times and it has felt like they were on a different planet. Manchester City did something similar. We lost 72 and you can't help but feel disheartened, demoralized. When you are struggling to get out of your own half and, as a striker, you only have 3 or 4 touches of the ball, it is so frustrating. A scoreline such as that hurts your pride and leaves you drained. You can acknowledge their quality, but, truthfully, you would rather lose 10 to a team that you should beat with an unlucky goal rather than suffer a hiding. The concern is that more and more teams are accepting their fates before even crossing the line. I appreciate that there is so much money involved in the game these days, but the lower teams have money as well and, arguably, have never had it so good in terms of resources. The days in my career when you sensed that everything would come off were magic, but I have experienced the other side. 2 big defeats hurt your pride and leave you drained. We all have enough reason to give it a go. We play Chelsea on Saturday, for example, and we won't be going to Stamford Bridge with our fingers crossed that we will escape unharmed. We will go to cause them as many problems as possible, but we still have to be hard to beat and get men behind the ball. Hopefully, what we have seen creeping into the game, the desire to sit deep and defend and frustrate, will simply be trait. English football is about excitement and not being afraid to take on a challenge. We will always be up for the challenge. With a bit of luck, others will be too. I love Rafa despite him subbing me. The new year starts for me with a home game against Newcastle on Monday, and that means a reunion with Rafa Benitez. Rafa played a huge role in helping shape my career. There were a lot of eyebrows raised when he signed me in 2005. Liverpool had just won the Champions League and he could have gone out to buy the best striker in Europe, but he showed a tremendous amount of faith in me. Working with him was an education and an experience. I quickly discovered he is very single-minded and there were times when he was difficult. He gets lots of criticism but he doesn't care what people think. He is a football obsessive, someone who even surpassed Jamie Carragher for his love of football. He can't ever switch off. Rafa Benitez bought me after winning the Champions League at Liverpool. I wish him the best. Benitez is even more of a football obsessive than Jamie Carragher. He can't ever switch off. Cara used to watch everything, every match, every program, but Rafa took it to new heights. I remember him coming to training one day and saying to Jermaine Pennant, "Did you watch the game about a Champions League tie the previous evening?" Jermaine was sat next to me, putting on his boots, and just said, "What match?" It blew Rafa's mind. If ever there were two opposite characters in football, there they were. Rafa was stood, open-mouthed, clearly thinking what is going on. There were so many stories. In 200,506, Stevie Gerrard was the PFA Player of the Year. He scored 25 goals from right midfield and was just incredible, but I'll never forget Rafa trying to teach Stevie how to use his left foot. He just always wanted to improve people. Maybe Stevie didn't use his left foot a lot, but he was hitting 30-yard balls with the outside of his right. He'll always find a weakness in anyone, and I think that's why in the past big players have clashed with him. I scored against Reading once by going around the keeper. I used Robbie Fowler as a decoy, but after the game Rafa was fuming at me because I hadn't passed. It was always his way to pull you up. You'd think to yourself, how can I possibly get a bit of praise from this man? Benitez was rarely satisfied. He even kept on at Steven Gerrard to improve his left foot. Benitez subbed me when I had scored twice at Birmingham. I was desperate for a hat-trick. We beat Birmingham 70 in the FA Cup and had scored 2 before half-time. During the break I said to him, "Please keep me on." I knew he was going to make changes, but I was desperate to score a hat-trick for Liverpool. So I went out for the second half, and was substituted in the 56th minute, but I loved working with him. He gave me the opportunity to play for such a fantastic club. He's a top manager, and he got Newcastle promoted under difficult circumstances, and I'm sure they will stay up. I always wish him the best when I see him. I just want to do it on New Year's Day. As this is the last column of 2017, I wanted to have a look back at the highs and lows of the past 12 months with a few personal awards. See you again in the new year. Player of 2017 Harry Kane. I'm almost running out of things to say about him. It is things like how quickly he gets his shots away, both feet, so little backlift, such power. He always hits the target. You think of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, out on their own and nobody can touch them. Now Harry has gone and scored more goals than them in fewer games. I didn't think that was possible. If he does that on a consistent basis, he'll be talked about as being at that level. I worked with him when he was a kid, but the improvement he has shown, year on year, has been staggering. Harry Kane's improvement at Tottenham year on year has been staggering. He is intelligent, good in the air and quick enough. People say he reminds them of Alan Shearer, but I think he is Shearer and Teddy Sheringham molded into one player. He can drop deep and play those clever passes, but he can also lead the line. He's got everything, a proper centre-forward. People talk about Neymar. He moved to Paris Saint-Germain for £198 million, but Harry has scored more goals than him in the last 12 months, so what is he worth? And you know what else? I don't think he is appreciated enough. As a nation, we are cynical. We think to ourselves, he can't be that good. Hes English. If he was French or Italian or Spanish, people would be talking about £250 million for him. People rave about Kylian Mbappe and, yes, hes good, but, at this moment, he isn't as good as Harry Kane. Personal frustration. Stoke's performances in the Cups. I feel like we need to win something for the city. I don't take for granted being in the Premier League because it is what we need to do. But a day out for the fans would be massive. We got knocked out of the FA Cup by Wolves, at home, in the third round in January, and the Carabao Cup didn't go much better as we lost to Bristol City in September. We play Coventry in the FA Cup next week and hopefully it is the start of the road to Wembley. I was left embarrassed after we lost to Bristol City in the Carabao Cup earlier this season. Moment of 2017 reaching 100 Premier League goals. I won't forget February 1, 2017 in a hurry. A home game against Everton, 7 minutes in and there was my opportunity. It couldn't have been any better. Everyone told me to do the robot, so that came out when I celebrated. Seriously, though, it's something that I will look back on when I'm done playing with great satisfaction. It goes without saying that I want to keep moving up the chart and there's more goals in me. But when I look at my name on the list of players who have passed 100 Premier League goals, everyone has a huge reputation and are instantly recognizable. I wanted to get in there and cement my name in a group that will be there for a long, long time. I'm immensely proud of it. My 100th Premier League goal came against Everton in February and isn't something I'll forget. This goal Emre Can Watford v Liverpool, May 1st, just wonderful. The technique, the execution. I've always been a fan of overhead kicks too. Best album Liam Gallagher, as UWERE. I have to give mentions to Wolf Alice, Visions of a Life, the XX, I See You and The Killers. Wonderful, wonderful, they are all up there but Liam Gallagher takes it. I saw him play at Bethnal Green Working Men's Club and he was amazing. Liam Gallagher's record, As You Were, Pips, Wolf Alice, The XX and The Killers for me in 2017 BEST gig KASABIAN. I loved seeing them at Brixton Academy, as it is a tighter venue, but what an experience at the O2 at the start of this month. The next time they do a stadium tour you have to go. I am looking forward to part own. I am really interested to see how Manchester City develop in the second half of the season. If they get Alexis Sanchez, they could become one of the greatest sides we have seen. It will be exciting to watch them. Then there is the World Cup. If Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane can take their form into the tournament, full of confidence, can we do something? We are always hopeful, aren't we? It goes without saying I'd love to be there. Those two tournaments in Germany and South Africa were incredible experiences, the pinnacle of the game. I'm not making any holiday plans just yet. Raheem Sterling could have a blockbuster 2018 with City and then England at the World Cup. I'm looking forward to part 2. Araujo wins the PFA Player of the Year. The standard has been ridiculous this season. Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Harry Kane, Mohamed Salah and Eden Hazard are the outstanding candidates. If City blow the league away, as appears likely, you wouldn't look any further than De Bruyne. Young Player of the Year is also interesting. I can see it coming down to a shootout between Gabriel Jesus and Marcus Rashford, who has had a great year.